Okay, let's try to thread the Charlie Kirk needle, so don't swipe away mid-video because you might walk away with the completely wrong conclusion. If you think the world is a better place without Charlie Kirk, that is not necessarily unreasonable. But there's a big difference between magically poofing someone away without consequences and murder. I feel bad for Charlie Kirk's family, especially his children, but it's hard to feel empathy for someone who, by his own words, despised empathy.
I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that it does a lot of damage.
And it's hard to feel bad for someone who joked about the attempted assassination of Nancy Pelosi, denied right-wing rhetoric could be in any way to blame for the attack, and in the same breath, within seconds, said,
if some amazing patriot out there in San Francisco or the Bay Area wants to really be a midterm hero, someone should go and bail this guy out. I bet his bail's like 30 or 40,000 bucks. Bail him out and then go ask him some questions.
Finally, it's hard to miss the irony of Charlie Kirk becoming a victim of gun violence when he himself thought gun deaths were worth it to keep the Second Amendment.
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights.
Charlie Kirk was a Christian nationalist who spent his entire adult life advocating against the fundamental rights of women, gay and trans people, immigrants and refugees, and basically anyone who isn't Christian in the United States. But Charlie Kirk's life's work has already been accomplished. Turning Points USA is the largest conservative youth organization in the country. Kirk's rhetoric is mainstream and it's not going anywhere. His death is not going to undo anything he's done. I got DMs saying he got what he deserved. Even if you believe that, his death has literally no upside. There will be a response to this, and the only question is how far they'll be willing to go in a context where multiple administration officials have already called the Democratic Party an extremist organization, let alone cracking down even more violently on demonstrations and labeling criticism of the right an incitement to violence. That being said, while it's important to note that we don't specifically know the motives of the killing, one of the reasons people are generally more supportive of political violence today is largely the complacency of elected officials in the Democratic Party. The so-called opposition that is responding to a fascist takeover of the country with sternly worded letters and disapproving ping-pong paddles. Everyone from Joe Biden to Bernie Sanders have tweeted condemnations of political violence, rightly so. But if there's a spectrum that goes from ping-pong paddles to political assassinations, the Democratic Party and opposition leaders as a whole have to do the bare minimum to organize a productive, effective, real nonviolence resistance if they want to avoid more bloodshed. Because without a real nonviolent opposition to MAGA fascism, unfortunately more people will take things into their own hands and will all be worse off because of it.